What is going on, guys? Jack here, and welcome back to episode number 16 of Park to Prem here with Nottingham Forest. Today we start on the profile of Efl. I think this guy is quickly becoming one of my favourite players at the club. He is continuing to develop superbly. He's been playing for the German national team, and I feel like he epitomises the direction this squad is going in. We've got some really good pillars to this team, immense young players who I'm hoping over the coming years are going to flourish into players who are capable of playing in the Champions League. Since we were last here, we've gone through 2 months. Although we've only played 8 matches, the 2-month period means there's been loads of room for players to develop, and as a result, after we wrap up the games since we were last here, I think it'll be quite nice just to look at the training setup, some of the players who are performing well, the standout performers, I suppose, who I'm really hinging future aspirations with this team on. As you can see, though, just looking at the league table real quick, we have 2 games in hand on teams around us. If we win any of them, we could find ourselves as high as the Champions League spots. We are really, punching above our weight right now in a league where, outside of Manchester United and Man City, anyone can beat anyone. You can see here, like, Chelsea have won 7, lost 6 in 15. It's a really weird Premier League season, and it feels like it could be one of those years where you don't necessarily have to be an outstanding team to secure European football, so we might be looking to capitalise on that. That said, today's game is against Man City, after yesterday's episode where we took on Manchester United and Liverpool, which, if you didn't see it, I would argue it had the best match of the series so far in it. Make sure to go watch it. I'm hoping that lightning can strike twice. I'm hoping that we can cause a bit of an upset at the City ground. That is very much the dream. Anyway, since we're last here, as I've already mentioned, we've played 8 matches, 7 of which were in the league, and we're already at the end of November, which feels a little bit mad, and I feel like now we are on the eve of that crazy point in the season where the footballing schedule in England just kind of goes crazy for Christmas. It's not a fun time as a manager, but we're going to hopefully get through it, and get through these games we should also do. As you can see, the first game we had was actually against Sheffield United in the EFL Cup. I played a rotated team for this one. They outplayed us. The EFL Cup is not where I'm going to hinge my hopes and aspirations this season. It was always a gamble to rotate the team against a Premier League side, but I just kind of felt like it was necessary, really. Anyway, the next game, with a rested team, you'd hope that against Bournemouth, who were promoted with us, we'd be able to beat them. And I'll tell you what, after Finn scored after 81 minutes, I thought we were going to beat them. Unfortunately for us, Giovanni has scored one of the best finishes I've possibly seen in Football Manager this year, and 1-1 it finished. In the very next game against Brighton, we started really slowly. We did not play very well in the opening of this game. Brighton are a team who have established themselves as a Premier League club. They actually opened up the game with a goal in the 52nd minute, and we had to fight back from behind, and the subs changed the game. Kursat scored, of course he did. He's been absolutely insane, the youngster. And then in the last 10 minutes, Piotr popped up with 2 headers from 2 slightly different corner routines. Yes, a slow start. They dominated the early spells of the game. Subs changed the match. Kursat was absolutely outstanding, and not dissimilarly to a whole host of players, really. He is just finding his groove at this level and improving. You can see him here. Wonder kid, fairly professional personality. He's got 2 goals now in only 1 start, so I'm pretty happy with how things are going. Another player who played actually really well in this game is Medj Doctor. I'm just calling him Dr. Medj. In fact, you know what? Dr. Medj. I know it's Medj, but Dr. Medj. He's very good, though, this guy, and you can see the improvement across a lot of our youngsters featuring in the first team has been immense. Anyway, what was not immense was the very next game. Against Leicester, we lost 3-0. Leicester are going very strong in the league. They are right up there. We got outplayed. We actually had a goal disallowed whilst it was 0-0. You have to wonder, had it not been offside, how differently might the game have played out. But yeah, Leicester right now kind of sitting in a little league of their own in 3rd. They're having their own little campaign. Not entirely surprising to be defeated by them, but the next 2 results were very pleasant surprises. First of which was a revenge result against Sheffield United. We were clinical in this game, took our opportunities. Samake got 2, Seka got 1, Piotr getting another, and then we took on Watford where we won 2-0. Piotr again getting on the score sheet. He's got 4 goals in 4 games in October. He also got 2 clean sheets in this run, obviously in the second 2 games. That resulted in him getting Premier League Player of the Month. So round of applause for Piotr. He's been absolutely superb. He looks like he's going to be a real, I don't know, pillar of this team, as I've already said. He's one of those players that he's hit the ground running. I feel like he's found his level. And in the switch to a 4 at the back, he has certainly thrived. Anyway, the very next game we had was against Chelsea. This was not dissimilar to the Liverpool game. Goals, goals, and more goals. And Steve Secker got a hat-trick. It wasn't enough, though. In this game, we looked a little bit vulnerable, to be honest, from set pieces. I feel like that would be maybe a little bit of an understatement. Enrique scored 2 goals from set pieces in the first 20 minutes for them. Chelsea took the lead through a corner, then a penalty. We pegged back quickly, though, Secker with some absolutely tremendous finishes. The first of which, I think it was the first, he smashed into the top corner from what looked like an impossible angle. Chelsea did reinstate their lead via a second corner of the game. We looked very vulnerable from these, but Secker to the rescue in the second half. He scored the only goal, and it came via a little bit of a run from Erk. He isn't going to get given the assist because he was tackled and the ball kind of fell fortunately to Secker, but that run from deep really opened up the opportunity, and well, Secker took it, and I think I should be pretty happy with a 3-3 draw against Chelsea in all honesty. Anyway, most recently we took on Burnley, and before I show you the highlight, I want you to close your eyes wherever you are right now and imagine the most Burnley goal possible. Right, you've pictured a goal? Right, open your eyes. Did it look anything like this? Quite possibly. We got FM'd, everyone. Yeah, Burnley. I mean, fair play to them. They've lumped it over the top once. We didn't take any opportunities that we had, whilst we perhaps were the better team. Doesn't matter if you don't score, does it? And yeah, that they know how to score, lumping it over the top. So we live and we learn. A disappointing result on what otherwise was a pretty good run of results by all accounts. But yeah, hopefully we're going to be able to bounce back after a little bit of a rest against Burnley today. Anyway, just having a look at the training side of things. As I said, players are performing superbly, and it's actually all the youngsters that are really stepping up. You can see here, just the training ratings across the board are really good. When it comes to players developing, playing at levels that they've not played at before, playing regular first-team football of a high quality, i.e. the Premier League, always sees players massively changing how quickly they develop. And I feel like we felt that effect for a fair few of our players. So, for example, Erk, right now I'm training him to play as an inverted winger out on the left. We have a bit of a lack of a left attacking mid. I've got Samake, I've got Brewster. Erk at the moment is kind of rotating with Secker, who has occasionally played as a striker. So with that in mind, I feel like training him to play out on the left-hand side is probably not the worst decision in the world. As you can see here, he looks like a fantastic player. He's been developing really well. He's had a lot of appearances on off the bench in the Premier League, which I think has dragged down the average rating, but he's definitely been involved in the play. Steve Secker as well, another player who's just, I don't know, he's just kind of hit the ground running this year. Of course, last season he got recalled from a loan at FC Porto halfway through the year once he got a work permit. He got 9 goals in 13 in Portugal. He's now matched that in the Premier League, which is rather impressive, especially when you consider the fact he scored 3 goals in 18 league games in the Championship last year. I think he's a player who just needed a little bit of time, a little bit of patience. I think the system change has benefited him. The fact he's got 4 player of the matches in 13 games, to be honest, is absolutely outstanding, and lots of green arrows. You'll notice his determination dropping slightly. I have got mentoring groups set up, and whilst his determination has dropped slightly, I'm hoping the longer term effect is that he's going to pick up the ambition and also the professionalism that you can see Brewster has. I mean, look at it. Perfectionist. It's the best personality, everyone, or one of the best. It's not model citizen, but it's pretty good. And if you were wondering about my mentoring groups, this is how I've got things set up right now. Just trying to get professionalism through the entire team. Personalities are so important when it comes to players in Football Manager. It really has a big influence on how players develop, and we are blessed, to be honest, in that a lot of our more influential players are, professional personality or perfectionist. I feel like with Football Manager, if you've got a squad with a bad personality, it can spread like a virus. It can be difficult to sort out. Whereas with our team, so many of the players in the more influential category are of fairly professional or perfectionist personalities that it's kind of bleeding through. And even players like Navio, who, let's be frank, I hate the fact he's a mercenary and has no loyalty and he's injury prone. He has just absolutely thrived. He's not even been playing regular first team football, but obviously coming in, he looks like a bargain, doesn't he, at 1.1 million. I would argue that actually this guy's the player who's improved the most. He really has defied all expectations. You look at him, there's a world in which he's playing regular first-team football for us at some point this year. He looks superb. I mean, if we just compare him with Damani Grimes, I feel like this is a pretty, significant comparison, really. You can see in green, Luis Navio. He's only 18, just as a little reminder, although he's going to be 19 in a few months. He looks top draw. I mean, the more you look at it, the more that you think, maybe I need to start playing him. His jumping reach is perhaps the only thing that's really holding him back, but at the same time, he's so good everywhere else. He's aggressive, he's brave, he's actually good at heading, technically, even if he's, not the best when it comes to his leap. I assume that we're training him in strength. Apparently I'm training him in defensive positioning. You know what? We're going to change that to strength now, to help with his strength and jumping reach. To be fair, his marking has shot up as a result of his individual training, but this is the kind of development I want to see. This is the kind of development that makes me very, very excited for kind of, the future of many of our youngsters. And, if we just continue to look down the list, I suppose the thing that stands out is that all the best training performers are listed as wonder kids, which is quite nice. I've talked about Finn, I've talked about Piotr, even going, slightly further down, there's players like Adrian Smith, who I think are benefiting from playing at a higher level than ever before. Obviously, there was interest in him last year. I think one of the big challenges going into January is the fact that our team has performed so well. There's just going to be a whole host of teams really, really interested in the players that we have. The average ratings, obviously, Seka running away with them. But elsewhere, Piotr has been great. Malang Sarr, 4 assists for him playing left wing back this year. I think he's perhaps been a bit of a surprise package. When I switched to the 4 at the back, one of my big concerns was the full-back positions, but Roger's done very well. And in fact, you look at the back 4, it's arguable that has been the thing that's really given us a base to build off this year. We have looked really, really good at the back. And I don't know, I'm feeling oddly optimistic, everyone. If we just look at how kind of requests are going, the junior coaching budget's been increased, the training facilities were finished kind of improving just 1 month ago. And if we look at the facilities as a whole, we've got exceptional academy coaching, exceptional youth recruitment, training and youth facilities are good, although there's still a little bit of room for improvement. I feel like we're set up in a way where if we get European football this year, I would like to believe that we will be challenging for a Premier League title inside the next 5 seasons. Which might be a tad ambitious, but I don't think that's completely unrealistic, given when you look at our team and you look at the best players in our team. I mean, look at the age of them. If we just sort by ability, I know the stars are a bit dodge. You don't necessarily want to believe the stars as gospel. The fact of the matter is that all of the best players in our team are kind of 20 years old, a couple of 18-year-olds as well who have looked really, really solid. The future's bright, everyone. The future is bright. The future may well be Forest. And, hopefully, we're going to be able to give people a glimpse into the future against Man City here. This is a game in hand that we have. A result here would see us go inside the top 4. In terms of team news for today's game, the news is that there's no news. We've got a full team selection available. One thing, actually, that I forgot to mention, which you may have caught wind of, Molyneux in goal. Yeah, Stokes, I'm sorry, mate. Stokes has been dropped by Ireland as their first choice goalkeeper. I'll let you decide which goalkeeper you would rather have. Let me know in the comments, because I feel like these are 2 goalkeepers where there's not a world of difference between them. They kind of excel in slightly different areas. Of course, Chris Molyneux joined us from Arsenal this year. But if we just look at statistics, in terms of average ratings, Stokes really wasn't doing that well this year. I feel like Chris Molyneux has come in and looked rather solid, dare I say. He's played 6 games for us. A few of those were in the Cup, to be fair. But if we look exclusively at league performances, 2 clean sheets in 4 games, a 7.03 rating. Is the era of Stokes over? To be honest, I don't feel like either of these goalkeepers are the super long-term solution. But in a world where, British players are nice and can be quite hard to come by, to have 2 British and Irish players, I should say. I mean, for the sake of the foreign player rules, Irish players are considered, non-foreign. But the way it's all set up basically means that it's quite nice to have goalkeepers who aren't contributing in that way to the foreign player slots. If you were wondering, by the way, about the squad registration, we're kind of fortunate in that a lot of our youngsters don't have to be registered because they classify as under 21. That said, there is 7 players here who are considered foreign. So if they were all to be registered, we would be under the foreign player limit by 6 players. So there's actually still a fair bit of flexibility when it comes to our squad building. There will come a point, I imagine, in a few years where that foreign player limit is very much been, a blocker, I suppose, in terms of me making deals that I want to make. But right now, it's not too much of a consideration. But yeah, we'll see how Molineux gets on. Stokes has been dropped at international level. I feel a bit bad for him. But I don't know, over the last 2 months, things have just gone really well, and I'm hoping that we're going to get another win here. Of course, the Burnley defeat is fresh in my mind, and I feel like maybe we've overperformed so far this year, dare I say. I think we've got a good team. I think there's players who are capable of playing in Europe in this squad. But I would look at, well, the fact that Man City and United are pulling away with the league and kind of err on the side of caution today. I'm not going into this expecting a result. Put it that way. But if we can give them a good fight at home, that would be nice, wouldn't it? And, well, maybe we can build from the back here. Damani Grimes, the former Manchester United man, he's going to want to get a result against his former rivals. Also worth noting, Malang Sarr, of course, was signed from Manchester City last year in January. That was a really big signing at the time, being able to pry a player away from them. So maybe he's going to have a point to prove as, well, Ricketts brings it forward. Ricketts, by the way, has been absolutely outstanding. I saw comments perhaps being a bit worried about his work rate, but I feel like in a three-man midfield, the lack of work rate kind of is more than made up for by the players playing alongside him. He's been a big standout performer this year, the Mazzala. Anyway, really nice build-up play here. Is there end product? That's what we have to ask ourselves. Smith whips in, Amlo has a header. It hits the crossbar and goes over. But a really good opportunity for us. Of course, Amlo breaking into the German national team. Good to see. Good to see him getting off the mark as well with an early goal. He actually scored, I think, on his debut for Germany. So the future is bright there. And, well, we are having all of the highlights right now. We're going to have a throw in here. Rodgina to launch it. Is there anyone in the box? Amlo leaps like a salmon. He stings like a bee. He's 6'6". I think I mistakenly said he was 6'4". No, he's 6'6", everyone. I need to correct that mistake from a previous episode. He is absolutely massive. He is a weapon of mass destruction in the penalty area. And, well, you know what? It might be a bit Pulis ball, but we have Stoke DNA in us. We've got Peter Crouch. We've got Jonathan Woodgate. We've got Ryan Shawcross. If anyone's going to make the most of kind of set pieces, it should be a team with that backroom staff. Anyway, Samake plays it through. Amlo, could he double his tally for the game? Of course he can. I will say he had been slowing down on the goal-scoring front. Had been rotating things around a little bit to the point where Seka had played a few games up front. But in this game, Finn Amlo, he's playing like he's got a bee in his bonnet. It's like he's annoyed with me for dropping him. Of course, he's either-footed as well as being 6'6", and on that occasion, using his left foot to beat the keeper at the near post. And this Manchester City team in second right now look distinctly average. Lamptey for them playing is kind of interesting. He tries to get it in, but it's only to Bernardo Silva. I assume it's Bernardo Silva rather than a regen called Bernardo. And oh my word, Frankie de Jong should have done better there. Should have done better there. It's gone straight into the keeper's hands. Now Roger to launch it forward. Will the keeper collect it? He will. Edison on this occasion holding his bottle. Look how tall Finn is, by the way, at striker. He looks like a giant in the match engine. It's very rare that a striker is taller than the centre-backs next to him, but he's just got a physicality to his game that's a bit weird. I want to say he's got a bit of Lukaku about him. Would that be a weird analogy to draw? Anyway, Lautaro Martinez tries to chip Molineux. That was a bit cheeky, a bit disrespectful. Molineux makes a great save, to be fair. I will say now that Manchester City have had two golden opportunities they've squandered. We perhaps need to be a little tighter at the back. We can't get too complacent, I suppose, having scored 2 goals. Because when you look at the XG, they've had half as many chances as us, but the total kind of quality of those chances matches ours, and that is a little bit of a concern. The 2 early goals kind of have eased my nerves a little bit, but as this game's gone on, it feels like Man City have steadied the ship slightly. But at the break, it's going to be 2-0. And you know what? I think we probably deserve it on the balance of it. I'm very happy. Finn Amlo, he's putting on a clinic. Maybe I do need to get a shirt with his name on the back. Maybe that does need to happen. Anyway, Man City, besides those 2 chances that we talked about, have really not created anything. And suddenly, we're at the hour mark. I'm going to take off Samake and I'm going to bring in Dr. Medj out on the left-hand side. Elsewhere, Ricketts has had a good game. Adrian Smith's been a bit hit and miss. Actually, you know what? We're going to play Dr. Medj in box-to-box midfielder. And I'm going to bring in Alex Mighton, the hometown hero, to cut in on his right foot. I will say so far this year, Alex Mighten has not lived up to expectations, the American. I feel like over the last couple of years, he's been perhaps the player who has fallen down the pecking order the quickest, but he is homegrown at club, and if we are going to end up in Europe in the next couple of years, he's the kind of player who I do need to have around. So I want to keep featuring him in the first team, and he is good enough to play at this level. Anyway, Dr. Medj with it. He tries to give it to Regina, and that is not a good place to give the ball away. Hassani skips past one man, hits it. Molyneux to the rescue again. It was straight at him. Stokes would never. Stokes would never. Friendship ended with Stokes. Molyneux is my new best friend now. And for those of you wondering, is he related to Molyneux from Towler Town? You know, bit of a throwback. We had a striker called Jimmy Molyneux there. Distant cousins, I've heard. Parallel universe cousins. I don't know where this is going. Either way, there's 10 minutes left, everyone. I should remain calm, but I'm getting a little bit excited at the prospect of FMing Manchester City here. I'm going to take off Mateus Fernandes and bring in Finley Robertson. Just change up the deep line playmaker, get some fresh legs in there. You would say if Man City can get one goal now, it would result in a nervy last 5 minutes as Hassani has the ball. I don't really want to take the pedal off the gas, though. We've been on the front foot in this game. We've been the better team. Amlo, could he get there? No, he's not. The ball just runs to Ederson. For a second, I thought that the number 23 was just going to pop up at the right moment, at the right time. He might do that now, though. He's threaded through by Dr. Medj. What a ball. It's safe, but it falls to Stevie Secker. The route is complete. That is going to be game, set, and match. I'll tell you what, Dr. Medj, pulling the strings from deep, the doctor. Surgical precision with the ball through there on his left foot. Amlo picks it up, takes it down. He probably should have got his hat-trick. Bit of fortune about the way it falls to Secker, but we will take that all day, every day. A 3-0 win, and you know what? This group of youngsters might be able to pull off some more upsets this year. We have looked top draw in this game. This has not been a smash and grab. This has not been a game like the Liverpool match, where we were probably second best, but just being more clinical has got us the result. This is a game where we have bullied United. We bullied City. I don't care about upsetting City fans. There's none of them. Sorry, that was unnecessary, everyone. I'd like to apologise, but I'm sorry, City fans. You're rubbish. This is Forest's day. Is that Pep there? It looks like Pep. It's a bold fraud of some variety. Could be Sean Dyche for all I know. I think Pep still is City manager. We can have a look. Right, let's have a... I think it looked like Pep. At a glance, it was Pep. I knew it. Recognised that shiny forehead anywhere. With that result, though, we climb up to 4th and with a game in hand. Whilst we can't climb any higher than 4th if we were to win that game, which I think is against Arsenal looking at it. Where things look right now, we could potentially build a little bit of a cushion into 4th place, which would be quite nice. In terms of when we're going to be back next time, I suppose that is a pretty golden question. I feel like so far this season we've been doing live comms against all of the big dogs, all the big teams. I think next time we might take on a slightly smaller fish to fry. In terms of what game it might be, I say smaller. I am wondering about coming back for the West Ham game in the middle of January. West Ham are, of course, a team taken over by a sugar daddy. It might be interesting to see what kind of moves we're considering in January. And right now, they're up in 6th. They're a team who I imagine are going to be competing for a Europa League spot, and so could be a pretty good opposition for us to go toe-to-toe with. Anyway, you can see here the pre-season predictions. We're rocketing up. We're up to 15th, everyone. We're starting to have some players and some managers and some pundits believe in us. Stevie Secker is rapidly climbing up the key players, as is Piotr at centre-back, which is not entirely surprising. He looks like he could be the rock in our defence for many years to come. And if you can't tell from my voice, if you can't tell by my mannerisms, I'm blooming excited by this save game at the moment. It just feels like it's all kind of clicking together. Players like Secker, who were slow to get going, are starting to come good. Piotr perhaps in a similar spot there. Amlo has been a bit of a game changer this season. It's just a beast up front. Maybe he is the regen of Mike Frost. Maybe he is. I mean, he's valued at £41 million. Suddenly that £23 million splooged doesn't seem like that crazier a money, does it? Either way, guys, let me know what you made of that team performance. I'm delighted with it. Players are developing. The team's developing. We're debatably overperforming. But going into January, We've got 33 million to spend. I could go and find another AMLO. Maybe that's what I'm going to go do. Either way, I'm sure we will be busy in January. Could we mount a Champions League push? It might be preempted. It might be premature, but I'm going to plant that seed right here and now. I'll see you guys again tomorrow for the game against West Ham. It is me, Jack, and I will talk to you guys in a bit. I'm out.